EA Sports. It's in the game.
EA Sports Cricket 2007 is often hailed as a classic, beloved by cricket fans who grew up playing it. Released in 2006, it provided countless hours of entertainment and became a cultural phenomenon for cricket enthusiasts. But as we revisit this game years later, the question arises, was Cricket 07 truly a great game, or are we simply blinded by nostalgia? For its time, Cricket 07 delivered features that felt innovative and exciting. The century-stick batting controls were a standout, offering players more freedom to execute shots. Venues like Eden Gardens and Lords, each with unique pitch conditions, added depth and realism to the experience. The game also had a variety of modes, including the iconic Ashes series, World Cup tournaments, and customizable fixtures, ensuring that players had plenty to explore. But even as it dazzled fans, the game had its share of problems that were not always obvious at first. While batting felt fun, certain loopholes in the gameplay mechanics could make the game feel repetitive and eventually stale. While the batting in Cricket 07 got a lot of praise, the bowling was where things started to fall apart. The controls felt clunky and the outcomes often seemed random. Even with precision timing, the difference between a wicket and a boundary felt like pure chance rather than skill. For instance, fast bowlers lacked the ability to set up batters with subtle variations, and spinners often failed to extract realistic turn or bounce from the pitch. This made bowling feel more like a chore than a strategic part of the game. On certain pitch types, it was too easy getting the wickets once you get hold of the bowling mechanics. The game's artificial intelligence, while functional for its time, was not sophisticated enough to keep players challenged. Opponent AI rarely adapted to player tactics, which meant that once you figured out a few winning strategies, the game became highly repetitive. For example, the AI struggled to handle certain field setups, leading to easy wickets with short leg traps or pack slip cordons. As a bowler, you could exploit the same line and length repeatedly to dismiss the AI, especially on hard or green pitches. These AI shortcomings meant that even on the hardest difficulty, matches became predictable and lacked the competitive edge that players craved. Batting, despite being the game's strongest feature, also had glaring issues. While the century-stick controls were enjoyable, they came with exploitable weaknesses. Players quickly discovered that it was possible to hit sixes on nearly every ball, even on the hardest difficulty. By using specific timing and shot combinations, you could consistently clear the ropes, reducing the challenge of chasing or setting a high target. This made games feel one-dimensional and stripped away the realism that a cricket simulation should offer. Once players mastered these tricks, batting became more about repeating the same moves rather than adapting to the match situation. The combination of these factors made Cricket 07 feel redundant over time. Once you figured out how to exploit the game's mechanics, whether through predictable AI, easy six-hitting strategies, or certain pitch types, it became hard to stay engaged. While the initial thrill of smashing sixes or taking wickets might have been exhilarating, the lack of real challenge or depth meant that the game eventually lost its charm. This redundancy was especially frustrating for players who wanted a long-lasting cricket experience. Unlike modern games which introduced dynamic AI and more varied gameplay, Cricket 07 often felt like a loop you could not escape. EA Sports Cricket 07 will always be remembered fondly for what it brought to the table. It introduced many players to the world of cricket gaming and created unforgettable memories. But as we look back, it's clear that the game had significant flaws. From clunky bowling mechanics to exploitable batting strategies and predictable AI, Cricket 07 lacked the depth and balance that modern gamers expect. Nostalgia plays a big role in how we remember this game. For many, it's not just about the gameplay, it's about the memories of playing with friends, late nights spent chasing impossible scores, and the excitement of seeing your favorite teams on screen. But when we separate those memories from the game itself, we can see that Cricket 07 was far from perfect. Revisiting it today can still be a fun trip down memory lane, but it's essential to recognize that nostalgia often glosses over the flaws. Cricket 07 was a game of its time, and while it was groundbreaking back then, it also highlights how far cricket games have come since.